Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. WWE SmackDown has been featuring some of the biggest storylines on the road to WrestleMania 41, particularly in the women's division. Tiffany Stratton is set to defend her WWE Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair at the shows next month, and chaos broke out between both women on the blue brand this week in Barcelona, Spain. With no security and officials able to get them under control, GM Nick Aldis might bring his wife, WWE legend Mickie James, back on main roster TV for the first time since Royal Rumble 2022 to restore order. James could be featured as the co-general manager of the brand to take care of the blue brand's women's division on Friday nights. Charlotte Flair faced PFAB in a singles match on the blue brand, making her submit to a figure-8 leg lock. While Flair won, she didn't break her submission until her WrestleMania opponent came out, and a brawl broke out between them. After both women tore each other apart, things seemed to have cooled down. However, just when The Miz was about to start his talk show, the brawl between them made its way back on the stage. Mickie James could play a massive role if she decides to get back on the main roster, with a massive role on the blue brand. Further, James could also end up being the guest referee in the massive Flair vs. Stratton match at WrestleMania. While this is all speculation, we have to wait to see how Nick Aldis will handle this ongoing situation. The legendary Mickie James is currently a part of the Stamford-based company. The star is a coach on WWE's series LFG, Legends and Future Greats on A&E Network, and was also seen motivating Jada Parker at NXT Roadblock earlier this week. With the former women's champion already having a major name in the company, a possible role as the general manager of the women's division could add massive value to the storylines. Fans will have to wait and see if the wrestling legend is featured as the general manager to restore order any time in the future. In the dynamic world of professional wrestling, storylines are ever evolving, with each chapter bringing something fresh and exciting to the table. Among the many ways WWE keeps its audience captivated, few ideas have the potential to make an impact like the return of a legendary figure from the past. One such possibility could be the return of a female WWE legend after a hiatus of 37 months, a story led by none other than Nick Aldis, a current superstar with a reputation for his charisma, in-ring ability, and compelling storytelling. But how exactly could this storyline unfold? Could Nick Aldis play a key role in bringing back a female legend to SmackDown? What would it mean for the brand, the division, and the larger narrative of WWE? In this exploration, we'll look at how this storyline could play out, the potential legends that could make their return, the impact on SmackDown's female roster, and why Nick Aldis could be the perfect catalyst for this epic comeback. The state of SmackDown. Before diving into the specifics of Aldis's involvement, it's important to understand the current landscape of WWE SmackDown. SmackDown is one of the flagship shows in WWE, home to some of the biggest superstars in the world, from Roman Reigns to Drew McIntyre, and from Charlotte Flair to Sasha Banks. However, while SmackDown has its fair share of top-tier talent, the brand has been experiencing a lack of stability in its female division, particularly when it comes to top heels and faces. This instability began when some of the most iconic female superstars took a hiatus or moved to different promotions. With fewer established names to carry the division, there's been a void in terms of consistent storytelling, star power, and compelling rivalries. While new stars like Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez have begun to rise to prominence, it's clear that SmackDown needs something more, something that could bring back that spark of excitement. In steps Nick Aldis. The role of Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis is a name that has been closely associated with the world of professional wrestling for many years. Known for his time as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Aldis has built a reputation as an accomplished and charismatic performer. His in-ring ability is complemented by his excellent promo skills, making him a multifaceted talent who can excel in various roles. Aldis's transition into WWE would bring with it a fresh perspective, especially in terms of booking, storytelling, and creating opportunities for other talent. He is an individual with a vision for what professional wrestling could be, and as a potential member of the WWE roster, he could serve as an instrumental figure in reigniting the women's division on SmackDown. One of Aldis's strengths has been his ability to recognize the value of legends in the business. He understands that the past can provide a solid foundation for the present, and in WWE's case, that means bringing back some of the greatest female legends to not only spice up the roster, but to add a sense of history, continuity, and nostalgia. Aldis has long been a proponent of utilizing veteran talent in meaningful ways, whether as active competitors or as valuable figures behind the scenes. By bringing back a female WWE legend after a 37-month absence, Aldis could create a storyline that resonates deeply with both longtime fans and newer audiences. It would represent not just a return to form for SmackDown, but also an acknowledgement of the rich history that has shaped WWE into what it is today. The possibility of a female WWE legend's return. Who could this female WWE legend be? There are many options to choose from, but to make an impact on SmackDown, the returning legend would need to have both the pedigree and the fanbase to make a statement. Let's explore some possible candidates. 1. Lita is a name that immediately stands out when discussing potential returns. She is one of the most iconic and revolutionary women in the history of WWE, known for her high-flying style and her groundbreaking feuds with some of the company's biggest stars. Lita's popularity during the Attitude Era and the early 2000s paved the way for women to be taken seriously as athletes in the ring. After a memorable return at the 2022 Royal Rumble and a brief program with Becky Lynch, many fans wondered if Lita would stick around or make another comeback. A long-term return led by someone like Nick Aldis could bring her back as a mentor or even a competitor in the ring, ready to restore order to a division that has seen significant change in her absence. Lita's presence could add a much-needed star power to the SmackDown women's roster and inject the division with a sense of urgency. 2. Trish Stratus. Another possibility is Trish Stratus, who has become synonymous with the idea of a female WWE legend. Stratus's impact on the wrestling industry is undeniable. As a 7-time women's champion and an all-around trailblazer for women's wrestling, she's someone who could return with the weight of history behind her. Trish's most recent run in WWE was a short-lived, but impactful program with Becky Lynch. Still, her storyline potential is far from exhausted. A return under the guidance of Nick Aldis could see her fill a similar role to Lita, but with more of a leadership angle, potentially managing other talent or leading the charge against the new faces in the division. Trish's star power could be the ideal way to make a huge splash in restoring the order to SmackDown's women's division. 3. Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix is another name that could return to WWE after a lengthy absence. Phoenix was an anchor of the women's division during her time in WWE and has since become a prominent figure in the commentary booth. However, her in-ring career was cut short due to various circumstances, but the idea of her coming back for one final run is tantalizing. Beth could potentially return to SmackDown as a mentor figure for the younger generation, or as a fierce competitor trying to restore order to the division by taking on the top female stars. Her size, strength, and wrestling pedigree would bring a new dimension to the SmackDown women's roster, creating a perfect blend of new school talent with an old school presence. 4. Nikki Bella, one of the most recognizable female superstars in WWE history, could also make a return. As a former Divas champion and part of the Bella Twins, Nikki has an immense fan following. After stepping away from in-ring action to focus on other ventures, a return to SmackDown could be in the cards. A comeback led by Nick Aldis could give Nikki an opportunity to settle unfinished business with rivalries from the past or create new and fresh feuds. Given the Bella's influence in the women's division, Nikki's return would certainly have a significant impact, not only for her but for the entire roster. The storyline. Aldis as the catalyst for change. In order for Nick Aldis to bring about the return of the female legend, the storyline needs to make sense both from a character perspective and within the larger narrative of WWE. Aldis, as an in-ring competitor and a strategist, could start by highlighting the chaotic state of the SmackDown women's division. He could point to a lack of clear leadership, the rise of new champions without credible competition, or the decline of true competition in the division. Aldis could take on the role of a manager, a consigliere, or even a power broker who brings in the legend to restore balance. He could claim that the current SmackDown roster lacks the necessary discipline or legacy to carry the brand forward, and that only a veteran like insert female legend can restore order. For example, Aldis could announce the return of the legend via promo, possibly on an episode of SmackDown, where he presents her as the solution to the chaos that has taken over. This moment would be monumental, with fans anticipating the legend's arrival after months of build-up. The return would create an instant impact, and the crowd would react accordingly. The conflict could revolve around the legend coming back and immediately challenging the dominant women on SmackDown, creating rivalries with the likes of Charlotte Flair, Bayley, or Rhea Ripley. Aldis's role in the storyline could evolve from an announcer to a central figure in these new storylines, drawing attention to his own goals of making SmackDown the premier brand for women's wrestling. The impact on the SmackDown women's division. The return of a female legend would have several positive impacts on the SmackDown women's division. For one, it would create a fresh influx of talent and matchups that would be both exciting for the fans and challenging for the roster. New rivalries could be created, bringing fresh angles and storylines to a division that has, in recent months, been struggling for the same level of depth as its male counterparts. Additionally, the return would inspire younger talents like Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Shotzi, providing them with the opportunity to work alongside some of the greatest in the business. It would elevate the entire division and help to ensure that WWE continues to position its women's division as one of the most respected in professional wrestling. Conclusion: restoring order and legacy. Nick Aldis's potential involvement in bringing back a female WWE legend to SmackDown after 37 months would be a masterstroke in storytelling. Not only would it inject the women's division with a much-needed dose of star power and history, but it would also provide fans with a narrative that is rich in continuity, nostalgia, and fresh rivalries. By utilizing Aldis as the central figure in this storyline, WWE could ensure that this return is treated with the gravitas it deserves. This would not only restore order to SmackDown but would also remind fans of the incredible legacy of women's wrestling in WWE and the future that lies ahead. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.